My name is Margaret Ann Windsor. The name I have to use is Peggy Ann Dempsey. I'm married to Childers. I was kidnapped, and I'm giving this just as a way of background so you know where I'm coming from with it. I was kidnapped in 41 from Buckingham Palace and brought to Moulton, Alabama, given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey. I'm married to Childers. I still have to use that name. And I've put all the documents and a lot of things over the years up on YouTube and Facebook. What I wanted to put up now is last night, so that would have been the 24th of January. I happened to turn on ABC late night, and I believe it was on is that 2020? It comes on about 11:30 or 12, I don't know. It's the ABC nightly news thing. Anyway, I woke up and I'd gone to sleep for a minute. I woke up and they were telling about the Manchurian candidate. And that caught my ears because what I've been telling about, other than my kidnapping, I was writing about mind control and program shooters, or mind control and programming to program people to do what you want them to. You can create an illness or cure it or program them to run off in the creek, and there's records of this too, and they're up on YouTube. I realize now the very people I was talking about and putting all this up to the public. I didn't know that Mark Zuckerman owned Facebook. Was the founder of Facebook. His grandfather is David Rockefeller, the Illuminati that kidnapped me. The Rothschilds that controlled the banking, and Joe Kennedy was ambassador to England, appointed by Roosevelt, a Jewish president. And I hope that's okay to say that because they kidnapped me and brought me over here in 41, and my life has been one living hell. Now I want to get to this. Before I found out about my kidnapping, I wrote about mind control murders and programming. Larry Flynn of Hustler magazine was one of those, and I keep using his name because most people know he was shot. There was a movie, and by the way, it opened here in Roanoke on my birthday, January the 7th. So let me get to this. I've been telling about mind control. You can even go and Google it now. You couldn't when I started writing about it. And the ones that I've written about are done in patterns, like the Virginia Tech, the Aurora, Colorado. I could go back because this didn't just start yesterday. How do you think all these sudden that they're trying to take your guns away too, like Aurora, Colorado, and they're treating him for mental illness when mental illness has nothing to do with programming and mind control. It's torturing the man. It must be a living hell. And I live in fear that they're going to knock at the door for reasons lately. Because of who I am, but because what I'm putting up, the information I'm putting up. Now back to last night. It's the perfect weapon because everybody tunes it out because you can't see it unless the murders are done in patterns, which ones I've spoken about have been. So here I go. Last night on the Manchurian Candidate, and I think this was one that came out in 92, and there was the original with Sir Lawrence Oliver Lawrence. Gosh, I can't remember now, but it was back in '62. I do remember this. Frank Sinatra was in it. Lawrence Harvey. Okay, it was about program shooters, but they call it a science fiction. There's nothing science fiction about it. Okay, the one that I remember the most, I can't seem to locate it this morning, was, and the one that caught my attention back then because I was trying to tell about some things and I didn't know how they were done. Okay, I had worked for doctors and etc. Was with Gregory Peck, and it was, I think, in the war, the best I can remember, and he was programmed assassin. What you can't get across to people is these people that are programmed. Okay, let me say this, and then I'm just going to get off because I've told it. I don't know if I'm going to live or what. Last night, this is typical, but at least they got it up there about the Manchurian candidate, and I thought maybe, hey, they're going to tell some of this. Well, instead they went to I guess his psychiatrist, and they were bringing in like when you hypnotize someone. Mind control is much more powerful. People don't know they're getting it. And I could go ahead, and they've so mimicked mental illness that they've gotten away with this mess. They really have. If anybody knew they'd been programmed and how, and they tried to go and stop it, you'd have, okay, you just be locked up and give Halidol or a psychotic drug. Has nothing to do with mental illness. They're using the mental illness as a political prisoner and weapon. So last night they had this woman and the psychiatrist, this man they were interviewing, was showing him hypnotizing her to not smoke. And they interviewed him, and he was saying, well, no, that you can't, the whole thesis or whatever you want to call it for all this is you can't make people do what they don't want to do. That is the biggest lie that ever hatched out of hell. Of course they can. What if this is ever made like global truth told? How are all these doctors going to explain it? So you see where I'm coming from, don't you? I got so many people, not just because of my name, but because of what I've put up on the YouTube and Facebook. So their thing was last night, the program, after bringing up the Manchurian candidate, I wish it brought up the Gregory Peck, and I can't remember the name of it, because he was in the army or something, and he was programmed, mind control used on him, assassin. Anyway, they left it last night that nothing about all these mass murders or programming or mind control, that it showed the doctor putting her under hypnosis and telling her that she didn't like to smoke, or, I don't know his whole words. And then the emphasis on that you can't be made to do anything you don't want to do. Try telling that to Russell Yates' wife in June of, I've forgotten. Well, no, I haven't. But anyway, try telling her. She killed her kids, drowned them. She was under mind control. You going to tell me this lady doesn't hurt? They locked her up in the mental hospital, called her mental, fed her psychotic drugs. There's Susan Smith, by the way. And yeah, this can be proven. Susan Smith, back some years ago, drove her two sons into the river in South Carolina, I believe, or the lake, and drowned them. She's in prison. Now then, I can go on and on. People have been put to death because they're programmed. And this myth about, having no control over yourself, these people don't even know they've been programmed. They have no way of getting out of the mess that's been put upon them. So nobody has protested. All these women the other day that protested all over the world. And you can't get anybody to protest about the worst weapon that's ever been used. And it can be used mass, singular, create an illness, cure it, program you to run your car in the river and drown. And I've put this up, cases of it, and shoot. One, or shoot a mass like Virginia Tech. And or let me say this, Tucson, Arizona, with Gabby Gifford. She was a congresswoman married to the twins, Mark and Scott Kelly, astronauts. And she goes and marching. I don't know that she marched, but she was trying to get gun control. Did you all ever stop and think that that's the whole purpose? You've got all this security on airplanes, and supposed to be for your best interest. You got all this that's really taking your freedom away. But like somebody told me, and she wasn't going to help me out. She's afraid of it. She said, well, I'm going to get along as long as I can get along. She knew about the New World Order, all this. There was nothing that she questioned. She said, but she wasn't going to do anything. She was going to live with her kids as long as she could. And in essence, saying to hell with me.